to discuss more on this and other lingering security issues in the country, we are joined on News Across Nigeria by Mr. Dixon Osaje, a criminologist and global security analyst. Thank you for joining us on the program News Across Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start off from what we just saw there in Jos Correctional Center. And of course, we've had a series of jailbreaks in recent times. What are your thoughts on this latest development, the one that happened in Jos?
Yeah, the one that happened in Jos simply proves that the Nigerian prison service are not ready to contend with the threats surrounding the prison facilities because it all boils down on physical protection system. When we have an effective physical protection system, it's going to create a room, a deterrence mechanism and a deter mechanism for this criminal element not to succeed in swiftly breaking into the Nigerian prison. I will advise the Nigerian prison service to carry out a national risk and vulnerability analysis of our prison facilities. If we don't do that, most of these guys that target the prison facilities to ensure that they let go of most of these criminals, they will be a threat to the society. So in carrying out a risk assessment of our national prison is to give them the opportunity to apply risk management process. The essence of risk management is to evaluate the risk, is to ascertain the risk, profile mitigation factors, and re-evaluate the risk. We cannot continue to have consistent prison break in Nigeria. That tells you there's a failure on the side of the Nigerian prison service, because if an incident transpired in Edo State, for example, that should be an alert call for Delta State Prison Service to beef up its security mechanism in the prison. It's not all about personnel, because sometimes we've seen most of these criminals, overrunning the personnel. The physical protection system has to do with people, procedures, and technology. What about the access control? What about the surveillance equipment to, inform the authority that there is an imminent or crime in progress? So for them to, forestall such kind of reoccurrence, they should carry out a risk analysis, national. The president should give a directive for them to carry out a national vulnerability and risk analysis of our national prison, so that we're able to project mitigation factors for this incident not to reoccur again.
Well, it's interesting that you just talked about vulnerability, and of course, the federal government actually some time ago inaugurated an audit committee, a vulnerability audit committee, to identify weaknesses in the security, like you've talked about. But it does appear that these attacks have not stopped. We're still having attacks at these facilities. What do you think that committee should really be, should I say, what should be their main focus, if at all?
Their main focus should be accountability from the horizontal plane and vertical plane, because here we feel that you can come and head a particular institution and not being accountable when leaving office or having left office. Because if we hold people accountable, our leaders accountable, hold head of institutions and prison facilities accountable, I think we'll be able to attack such kind of issues. What this committee should be doing now is to give a marching order to the prison service to carry out, to project all factors in place. Delay mechanism. Criminals don't like delay. And it's so sad that most of these guys, they come, they act swiftly. Sometimes they take their time and they go in peace. So we must
even
create...
damaging the prison facilities?
Yes. So we need to create delay mechanism. Creating delay mechanism simply means that if the criminal successfully beat the access control, if the criminal successfully beat the personnel, if the criminal successfully beat the prison, he or she must not get to the target. And that is where the time plays, because criminals work with time, speed and momentum. So when we have an effective delay mechanism component, put in all the physical protection system in place, the access control, just like when we were growing up, we usually watch a film called Prison Break. You know how many days it took those guys to break the prison? That's what we call delay mechanism. So if we put in those delay mechanism, I tell you for free, most of these criminals that think they can test the integrity of our national security, the integrity of our correctional facilities, and the integrity of our security will be defeated.
Now, let's talk about the level of investment, put into security. I mean, for instance, like in Kogi State, suspected kidnappers, were able to ambush and shoot the state commissioner for environment, kidnapping others in the process. Now, are we making... would you say we're making progress, in terms of getting security, to be invested in a large way?
Well, I will take my measurement from the founder of modern-day policing, Sir Robert Peels. He said, and I quote, he said, the absence of crime best prove the effectiveness of policing. Policing could be the military, could be the army, could be DSS or whatever the case may be. You and I believe that the spate of kidnapping is on a high rise, and the kidnap market is taking the boom. You know, seizing another man for monetary value or whatever the case may be is a no-no. And this is where the judicial system, the criminal justice system needs to play. Because if we don't have an effective criminal justice system, most people think they will commit crime and go scot-free without being punished for their crime. The criminal justice system needs to wake up. They need to support our anti-graft agency, just like the EFCC. You know, because why we have arrived at this stage was because most of these guys feel that our leaders have failed us, embezzle our money, corruption, and it's right time for them to strike back, because in every actions there are consequences. Now, the long-time embezzlement and corruption of this great nation is the consequence we are facing right now. So the judicial system, the administration of criminal justice system must rise up to the task. It comprises of the police, the court, and the prison. So when the police apprehend a criminal, the judicial system, the court, must be swift in, sanctioning that criminal, or prosecuting that criminal. Then the prison receive this criminal. If the prison receive this criminal, we keep on having prison breaks. That means there's a defeat in the administration of criminal justice system. So we need an holistic coordination between the courts, the prison, and the police, so that we will not have most of these criminals test the integrity of our national security.
And finally, what action do you think needs to be taken actually for better results, in terms of security? Because yes, we do have the police whose mandate actually is to, check crime within, our localities. They also have other security agencies, and most of the time you have the security agencies, other security agencies coming in to help the police. Sometimes we hear people say, oh, perhaps the police are not really well equipped, so they have to depend on the efforts of other security agencies. But the police in particular, I mean, how do we make them more effective?
Yeah, proactive mechanism is very essential here. When Boko Haram broke out in 2009, the government made an error by projecting the military so quickly. We must give the police an opportunity to try and fail. We must build their capacity and capability, because the Nigerian police are capable and effective enough to contend with crime in this nation. So if we have an effective policing system in which they carry out a proactive, reactive, and effective measures in containing with crimes and crime in progress, we will be able to mitigate all this period of insecurity. But for us to succeed, we need to be proactive, and our leaders must also lead by example, because people learn from what they see. If you are a leader, you must lead us right. We must not allow the labor of our heroes past be in vain. Most of us sing the phrase of the national anthem. The labor of our heroes past shall not be in vain. We must maintain that and ensure that Nigeria is a better place. In making peace reign, everyone should be accountable from the horizontal and vertical plane.
All right, news, of course, we definitely will be hoping for the very best as it concerns security. Dixon Osagie, criminologist and global security analyst, we thank you for your thoughts right here on News Across Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.